Your basic law of supply and demand. I've done the math and babe, the truth is you're bad for business.
So that track was Heather Rigdon's Bad for Business. Really good track for vocals. It sort of embodies the airiness of her voice in the sound space, which hopefully these lavalier mics have picked up quite well in the stereo image. I had the mics mounted on the headrest at exactly head height to where I sit. So you should get a POV perspective of that portion of that track at least anyway. But yeah, I've got the topping PA7 now, not the PA7 Plus. I figured I don't need the additional power with these speakers anyway. So there's no reason to spend more money on the Plus, and the sound signature, everything's exactly the same between the two. It's just the power output's different. All the connections are the same as well. So if I just give a quick peek at what's back there, I am using XLR to XLR now, not XLR to TRS, but that doesn't make a difference. They're both balanced and they're connected to the same port. So yeah, it's all good. It's just softer, more pliable cables that I got fairly cheap on Amazon, and they seem to do the job. So yeah, it's the PA7 X9 still acting as the DAC and preamplifier, and my headphones amp as well. So that's USB from the PC, XLR output into the PA7, and that is it in terms of connections on the PA7. And I have got trigger mode enabled, and that seems to work really well. So if I turn the X9 off, this will go into sleep mode. Now there is a little pop from the speakers when the PA7 turns off. There isn't one when it turns on, but only when it turns off. So I'm guessing that's just part of normal. I've had that in other amps and things before. So I turn it back on. The wake up time of the X9 is about 6 seconds in total. And then that's already come to life from the trigger. But yeah, you had no pop there when it's turning on, so that's cool. I have got the bypass mode on for the volume, so the volume dial does nothing. It's all maxed out, so that's cool. And all my master volume control is done via the DAC, because I like this dial. So yeah. Immediate differences between the A80, the IEMA A80, which I had there, with the Sparco's 3602 op amps. The A80 out of the box sounds really good anyway. It's very neutral sound with a focus on sound stage. The Sparco's op amps improve the sound stage a little bit further, which I talked about before, refined that stage, and the stereo imaging and bass was slightly improved as well. So small refinements. For me, it was worth the extra cost of each of those two op amps. But yeah, you don't need to spend that. You can just use the stock NE5532P op amps and you'll be more than happy. So that was a cool amp. Only reason I upgraded it was because I'm now using this as the master that's feeding, as the A80 was acting as a power amp, essentially. And the A80 has a feature in it called auto standby, which you can't turn off. So after about 5 minutes of inactivity, it will go into standby mode. And you need a volume level signal which is of sufficient power in order for the A80 to turn back on. For a line input signal, it's perfectly fine because you're going to be maxed out on the source anyway, and you're controlling volume via the power amp on the A80. But because I'm using this as the master, I found that this has to be on around about minus 34 decibels, which is about 64% on the percentage scale for the volume, in order for the A80 to turn on or from standby. If it's anything lower, the volume level isn't high enough for this to register a signal. So as I say, the A80's VU meters and the standby wake up is dictated by the volume signal, not the line level signal. So it's just keeping that in mind. So for my specific use case, it's good, but I just needed to crank up the volume before it woke up, and then I got sound. But then within 5 minutes, if the volume was lower than 64%, it'd go to sleep again. So a little bit of an annoyance. So I worked around that by leaving the DAC on 0 dB, which is 100% volume, effectively line level output, and then controlling the volume via the A80, whether it's the remote or the dial. Now the dial's not as nice feeling as the X9, so I kind of wanted that. I wanted an all box solution minus the power amp stage from one box, and because this volume dial sounds and feels so good, it just kind of made sense to want to look at that. And it's a nice excuse to get something new and try something else out and see what that's like. So I did try the Creek Audio 4040A, which I did a review of. I'll put a link to all these in the description below. Wasn't really a fan of that. The soundstage was vocals were too narrow in the middle, which I talked about. And there's various other bugs and issues with the unit itself, which I didn't like. For £800, you expect way more than that. So I'm not sure what other reviews were testing. They must have had a different unit to me. But yeah, individual preferences and all that. Whereas the PA7, I'm used to and familiar with the topping house sound. It's nice, wide soundstage, excellent stereo imaging. Vocals are placed nicely with a wide margin for the placement of those vocals. So airy vocals, especially acoustic music and female vocals, sounds amazing. It's like as if they're right in front of you and the sound is playing all around you. For those who've been on stage before or in front of a stage in a live performance, that's the kind of feel or the vibe you get. So it makes music musical again and lifelike. So I think key word here is making it fun. It's not too analytical, it's not too flat and neutral, by all means. It's nothing like that at all. It just makes music more alive and something you can enjoy more. And the details are definitely there. There's like loads of detail that pops out from the sides, especially on separation of instruments. It's like left channel bearing instruments from that track I played there, and right channel, you can easily place them in a 3D space, and I'm hoping the microphones, again, they do pick that up. In terms of heat, the X9 is around about 38 degrees after a few hours of use, and the PA7, I'd say it's around about the same. Now, I have raised the height a bit more with additional thicker feet on the bottom, so there's a bit more airflow. Now, I've had no issues with thermal throttling or powering down because of heat or anything like that, and there's no distortion, no noise. I can crank up the volume all the way, even put it on non-bypass mode and still crank up both volumes. There's no hiss or noise floor. As a stack, I think it works quite well as a little desktop setup. And with the speakers as well. I haven't got the headphones are packed away in the case at the moment, but yeah, I've got no issues with the headphones amp on the X9 at all. Everything else I connect to it will be a reference point to compare against between this and the PA7. So yeah, amazing sound. Price is really good as well. I got it off Amazon just because I wanted it the same day, and returning to Amazon if I didn't like it for whatever reason, it's just way easier. Amazon customer support is next level. So for me, the additional price of Amazon worked out fine because I've got that peace of mind. If anything goes wrong or if I don't like it, I just return it. In terms of gripes, if I wasn't using this as the volume control, I was using this, I have noticed the dial is very sensitive. So this is on 0 at the moment. It's all the way down there, probably around about 6 o'clock. You need to put it to about 9 o'clock before the volume is almost too loud. Anything beyond that is really sensitive. So small movements, the volume ramps up massively. So I'm not a fan of this, the volume pot inside. It feels nice to turn, it's very fluid, it's well damped, so that's fine. It's just the internal curve for the volume, and there's no way to change that, is quite steep. So you turn it, get to 9 o'clock, it's loud. Anywhere beyond 9 o'clock, it ramps up the volume too quickly, too high. So bypass mode is the way to go, and let your DAC or preamp control the volume. Now I am getting the topping DX5 Mark II in next week. I'll be comparing that to the X9. I have a feeling I know which I'm going to prefer just because of the display and the additional features that this has. I'm hoping they're both similar quality because I can recommend the DX5 II to everyone else who's not willing to spend £1,000 on a DAC preamp setup. And obviously the DX5 II is much shorter, so it's about this length. So these two would make a really good stack. Unfortunately, I ordered the black DX5 II. I wish I ordered the silver one now. I didn't know that I was going to get the PA7 back then, otherwise I would have done that. But, I mean, the X9 is not going to go from my desk, but the black one, maybe it's easier to sell on. I mean, I can't be bothered to return it to China for a refund, so I'd rather sell it on to someone who will make use of it. But I just want to test it out, see what it's like against the X9.